Hey, media, we see everyone starting to file in. We'll just give everyone a minute here. For those of you already in, if you want to get in the queue to ask John a question, please hit the raise hand button. And we'll have time to get to everybody today. We'll start with Steve Conroy. Go ahead, Steve.
Hey, John, welcome back, I should say.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Sure. I see you've had some familiarity with some of the Bruin players in the national program. Does that give you any kind of an advantage or a leg up in working with them and working with the whole group?
Yeah, I believe so. Obviously, yeah, there is a few players that I've crossed paths with, and I think anytime you get a chance to work with young men, especially at that age where they were at their point in their lives and in their hockey careers, you hopefully can leave a good lasting impression, which I hope I did that. So it'll be nice to see, even when I see him around, when we cross paths in the rink, I always say hi and vice versa. So it's exciting. It's exciting to work with a few of them that I've already crossed paths with, and just to keep building on where they're at and move forward with it and have fun with it.
In the past few years, the staff has been trying to get more offense out of the back end. How can that be achieved, do you think?
Well, I think it's a lot going to have to do with, with the way, Jimmy wants to implement the type of systems when he hired me. We've obviously talked about that stuff, but I do believe one of the points that he made it, he'd like to get them a little bit, more active, but without losing that ability to defend, because that's, Boston's MO. You can still do both and grow on the offensive part to get the D more involved, to get the puck to the forwards, and then, take some ice when it's available, but not force it. So there's always some things. I haven't dove into too much. I'm obviously very familiar playing against Boston, coaching in New York. But it's exciting just to try to kind of build on something that's already there, and with Jimmy's vision and the other staff, it's exciting. So we're looking forward to that challenge.
Thank you.
We'll go next to Kevin Dupont.
Hey, John, congratulations.
Thanks, Kevin.
A couple questions, if I could. The first one, how did this come together for you? Was it the Iron Range connection with Jamie, or did you put in the resume, or how did it come together?
Well, I mean, again, I'll just tell you exactly. I heard when Jim got the job, I had texted, Swedes, Don, I lost Jimmy's old number. Can you please, give it to me if it's available? I know you guys are looking for a defenseman coach. And Jimmy called me right away. And then the process took, 10 days, couple weeks. He went through his due diligence, and we spent lots of times on some Zoom calls. And I talked to Don. Again, it was a lengthy process. And then they came to the conclusion that I would be the best guy for the job. So I'm very excited to work with Jim and get back to and then the rest of the staff, and be back with a great tradition in Bruins organization. So I'm very thankful for it. But there was a process there. Jim and I never had worked together. We've crossed paths. I have a lot of respect for him, and and what he's done at every level that he's coached. He's a winner, and he's a great guy to be around the times I've spent with him at rinks. So I'm excited again for the opportunity to work with Jim and the rest of the staff.
Got it. And my other one is, I covered most of your games here, and frankly, I was surprised that you weren't here longer, and that you didn't have a longer playing career. So I suppose every player feels that way. But that said, given what your experience was at the NHL level and not having that lengthy career, or that long a career in the NHL, how does that inform? First of all, what did you think of that, and how does that inform you in terms of dealing with kids and prospects and what their expectations are?
Well, I think it's a good question. I have no regrets for my playing career. There's nothing you can't change that. But I do believe it gave me the opportunity to still play 10 years in a lot of good leagues. Again, of course, every kid wants to play. You start in the NHL, you want to play 10 in the NHL your whole career. Doesn't always work out there. I think it's how you handle it and how you can learn from it. And I think it's made me appreciate the game that much more and put me in this position. I've coached this long now, and to bring that to someone, especially all these pro hockey players are very proud players, and they are very good at their craft, and they always want to learn to get better. So that's the exciting part. But I have no regrets as far as my playing career. But I think it's helped me my path with the adversity and to get to where I'm at as a coach. It's very exciting. So once again, it's always a challenge. It's nothing's easy, but you got to work hard at it. So it's exciting in that regard.
And last quick one for me. Where are you at the moment? Where are you doing?
I'm in Michigan, back here with my oldest is still not here, but my son's back, and my youngest is going to college out next year. So and with the wife here in Rochester Hills, Michigan.
Great. Thanks. Best of luck.
Thank you so much.
We'll go next to Fluto.
Hi, John. 2 questions for you. First, will you and Jim play zone or man-to-man?
You know what? We've talked about it a little bit. I think he's always he's a great hockey mind, and I think he's talked to all the staff about maybe tweaking some things. I can't talk too much further about that because I don't know, but I think he is going to try to tweak a couple things from the D zone and probably all their parts of their game. So I'm looking forward to actually having that discussion with him, and again on a further basis, and the rest of the staff. So it'll be fun in that regard.
Okay. And then Jim had mentioned he's looking to create some more offense from the offensive blue line. So when the defensemen that you're in charge of are up there, what do you think we could see in terms of shooting or moving their feet or creating lanes? What will you have them do at the offensive blue?
I think there's always times, there's always a time to just get the pucks to the net when teams are out of structure, that's, and there's someone at the net front. But other than that, it's always good to get some movement with 3 high up top and get the D moving a little bit more laterally and create some confusion to the D zone coverage, whatever the D zone coverage the other team's playing. But you have to create some movement and some puck movement amongst the 5 in the offensive zone to create. So that's something that'll be a challenge for us, but it's also I think it'll hopefully be exciting for the players as well, and the defensemen especially.
We'll do a final call for questions and go to Mick.
Hey, John, congratulations on the gig. This is kind of in line with some of what Kevin and Fluto mentioned. When you came into pro hockey at a time where becoming much more structured, much more micromanaged and involved, systems were being talked about a lot, and offensive defensemen were starting to get leashes on them and weren't really improvising as much in the game as what we had seen in prior decades. And I'm just wondering what your thoughts on that were, as far as you think it went too far, and what do you think about the state of the game now and how defensemen are getting themselves involved in the play and the challenge of defending when you do loosen it up?
Yeah, and that's a great question, because I think you could do both without losing, because we know everyone sees how hard it is to win playoff games. It's 2-1, overtime, and any mistake can end up in the back of your net. I think there's a way to evolve D as far as still playing their position, doing it the right way, but also knowing the right times to jump. Obviously it's situational too, as far as where the score is at, without forcing it. So there is a balance. I think there's a little bit of the new and a little bit of the old in today's game that's effective. And that's the beauty of it is finding, where each player can get comfortable on the back end to where they're not putting themselves in too much trouble, but also utilizing some of the skills that they maybe not have had the opportunity to use in the past. So it's finding, and once I get a chance to really get in there and get to know them on a better basis as far as their talents and their personalities, that's the enjoyment of it. There's always a way to get something more out of some players. So there's a balance there between the old and the new. But it's something, if you kind of can be there to help them through it. There's always room to grow either way. So it'll be that's the exciting part of what we do.
Just a quick word on skating. I thought you were a terrific skater coming up a straight line, especially. You had easy speed, much like Glenn Wesley and your GM. And I'm wondering, as you look at how skating has evolved over the years, what ideas do you have right now as far as, I mean, not everybody's going to move like Cale Makar out there, but, from as a good skater coming up, do you kind of find yourself looking at guys and thinking of maybe something you can help them with?
Well, I think there's skating, everyone has their skating coaches, a lot of them. That's a tough one, but you might be able to help a little bit with their edge work as far as, walking the blue line or opening up their hips to turn to close on somebody. There's always improvement there. If it's something that they're looking to add to their game. So it's when they're this far along, there's a reason for it. But if there is something that I can see with the hip movement and the pivoting, I'll definitely I'll bring that to their attention if it's something we can work on, before practice or so forth. But yeah, but usually those things come prior to, but there's always a way to, like I said, to get better and find something that might help them out if it's skating or anything else.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
We'll go to Eric Russo.
Hey, John, welcome back. Just simply, what's it like to be back in Boston all these years later where you started your pro career?
Well, like you said, you always could wish it could have been longer, but I did, was there for 3 years and spent the time in Weston, and whether I was in Providence or in Boston. But it's always nice to come back full circle wise, again, to get this opportunity from Jim and Don and the Bruins organization. It's nice. It's exciting for me, my family, my wife, and how much it's changed over the years being back with New York, and then actually with some of my son played in some tournaments, how big and how beautiful the downtown is, and the changes to the practice facility and so forth. So it's a really exciting time for us to get this tremendous opportunity to go back to where it started.
Thank you, John, and thank you, media, for joining us. We'll talk to you guys soon.